We gather storms, never knowing what they'll mean.
First of all, my last interview, Blake, guess what Brandon did for me?
What?
He did the line.
Go on.
What about you? What do you like?
Yes!
Yes.
That's what it is.
But Blake, I have a question for you because I like you doing Brandon doing Atlas. So can you do the line?
She really likes to lean into it.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's just, but like how he does it, it's you know, it's not his if you just hear the line, honestly, it doesn't sound like the thing. It's the mischief on his face. Like he is such a stir when he says that. So when you see this line, he's standing in front of her boyfriend and her group of people who have no idea that they have the history that they have. Just as some waiter, he knows that he's who he is in this restaurant. I'm not going to say what his role is. And he knows their history and she knows their history and no one else does. So for him to take her order and go, what about you? What do you like? And you're just like, he knows what she likes. It is a wild thing to say, and it was not in the script, and it was crazy. And when I found that in the edit, I was like, oh my God, why is this not in the movie? And then it was not just my favorite moment, but just everybody in that room was like that line. And then we started quoting it every time we ordered lunch. It was like, you know, I'm getting this, I'm getting the yuzu salmon.
What about you? What do you like?
Sweet greens, what about you? What do you like? And I'm taco salad for me. You know what I like. Pop-Tarts. But it was like, it was coffee orders. It was everything. So yeah, it became like a sort of an iconic line.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And now I'm asking about it in interviews. It's going to take on a life of its own.
Yeah, no, it really is.
I want it on a hat.
Shirts,
yeah. You know, I want it on like a cool dad hat.
Yeah.
A dad hat.
It says, what about
Yes.
you? What do you like?
Yeah, maybe what about you on the front and what do you like on the back?
Yeah.
But you got to see his face in that moment.
Oh, I've seen it.
Oh, it's
I've
great.
seen it.
It's the best.
Read the book, seen it. I'm hook,
It's
line,
the
and
best.
sinker. I'm sold. So Blake, you've heard of a blank stare. You've heard of the expression, a blank stare?
Is it the Colleen bitch face you're talking about?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I want to coin a new phrase,
Death
and that
stare.
is, no, but first of all, tell me what that is.
Oh, it's just the
It's
Colleen
this.
Hoover death stare. You know, it's iconic.
That's good.
You're getting all the iconography
Yeah.
of these two at this moment.
Yeah.
This is what I want.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But what I was talking about was, I want to give you an award. We've heard of a blank stare, but I want to coin a new phrase, the Blake stare.
Oh.
Because nobody stares better in a film. And kudos to the editor for holding on that stare, where I know exactly what she's thinking. And when she looks at Atlas and when she looks at Ryle, there's love and prize, but in two totally different ways.
Aww.
So I want to ask you about creating those looks. Is it something that you're getting off each actor that is informing those looks? Because I feel like I could stare at you staring at them all day.
Oh, that's so nice to say. Well, I just really love romance, and I love it as an audience member, and I love it in my real life, and I just really believe in romance. I think that Baz Luhrmann and I are probably the two people who love romance more than anyone ever. I see fireworks, and I realize it's probably, visions of fireworks, but that's how I just love romance. So Colleen made the relationships, the draw of each character so clear that I knew exactly what Lily was feeling, and it wasn't linear. And I think that that's why those looks can be a more interesting experience, because it's not like, oh, I'm in love with this person, or I'm attracted to this person. There's so many layers to it. So with Atlas, there's so much friendship and there's so much trust, and then there's so much regret and guilt and sadness because of, things that happen that may not have been in her control, and missed opportunity. And then with Ryle, there's a deep attraction, but there's also, when there are red flags, even though you're not ignoring them, there's something subconscious and then sometimes conscious. So there's just so many different feelings happening at once, at all times, that it makes it easy to look and feel a lot, because she laid that groundwork.
Yeah. I've only given that award to one other person.
Who?
It was actually another Canadian Ryan. Not your
Oh,
Ryan.
really? Not my Ryan?
It was Gosling, yeah.
Oh, wow. For what? Just in general?
in general, La La Land, like he gives those lovelorn looks.
Yeah.
So like he's the king, you're the queen.
Oh, wow. My gosh, thank you. I think my Ryan is the king. He's so romantic.
Is he?
The stare, Gosling's got that stare thing for sure. He does that stare
So
thing.
you're also not voting for my Ryan?
Well, I think Ryan is incredibly romantic. By the I mean, the way he wines and dines me. No.
Didn't Ryan
No,
wait?
I
Didn't
think-
Ryan slide into your DMs and actually wanted you two to be together when he saw the film? You're Ryan.
He was like, oh my gosh, he loves her so much. Oh my
Yeah.
God. He loved Lily and Atlas so much. He was like, I want you guys to be together. Like he just like is like literally cheering along. But it's true. You see this movie and you're like, I want them together. Like they love each other so much and they can't be together. And it's not a love story with those two. And that's what's beautiful is like you feel so much love, but their entire love is based in friendship and it's based in trust and honesty. And like that's I think why you just like feel so much with them, because it's like the romance is just the layer on top of the everything else that they have.
Romance is like the bonus feature. You know, it's not the basis of their relationship, which most relationships you see in media are these like romance-based relationships that are based in lust and like heat and this like codependency sort of thing. That's most of what poems are about and music and movies. And it's really beautiful to see a relationship between two people that is rooted, like you said, in friendship and in like unconditional love. It's they're truly just there for one another. And it's not about possession or what can I get from you. It's like, I'm truly just here for you, in service of you. And I think it's such a beautiful relationship that she came up with, you know, it really is.
Y'all are so sweet.
Yeah, it's so special.
She's married to her high school sweetheart though. She's real life Lily and Atlas. That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I know. I've seen your throwback
great
pictures
guy.
of you together. It's
and he's such a sweetheart.
The
Yeah,
best.
he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, the real life Atlas.
Can go anywhere.
None of this is your fault.
As hard as this choice is, we break the pattern. Or the pattern breaks us.
I love your book, Colleen, and I love this movie.
Oh, thank you.
Beyond. This movie is beyond. The casting is incredible. First question I wanted to ask you, why is Blake so obsessed with this line? What about you? What do you like?
You asking me?
I'm asking both of you.
Oh.
But Brandon, you can answer it first.
I couldn't tell you.
So I can answer that a little bit. We were in the editing room, and every time that line would come on, our editor just would go insane over the way he delivered it. And so it just kind of became this thing where he would replay it when he wanted to get pumped up. And you weren't even in there, so I don't think you knew how much we watched that scene of you going, what about you? What do you like?
I mean, I don't even think it was in the script. No, I just improvised it. Seemed like a thing Atlas would say. You know what I mean? It's like
It worked.
it's
it
like
worked.
inferring a lot. You know, I mean, there's a lot under there. It's subtle, but there's a lot under there. It's like, I know what you like. You know,
I know who you
I
are.
was there.
I know what you like. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, Colleen, your favorite line in the film is "I know I was there," which was in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, for you, Brandon, like, first of all, that line and some iconic lines from the book. Can you just sort of describe the day on set? Like, was there extra pressure for those iconic lines? And do you have a favorite line, either from the book or from the script, that made it in the film that you were like, I can't wait to play this scene and I can't wait to say this line?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, it's a good question. There are certain lines that, and it happens in every project, but especially this one, because they are from a book, and it's my job to make them feel like they aren't a line from a book. And there's certain scripts and certain lines you're like, damn, this sounds like a line in a movie. And I have to somehow make this not sound like a line in a movie. And I love that challenge because it's challenging. especially shooting that scene, because I remember I had to like go towards the door and then like turn and be like, oh, yeah, I know I was there. And every time it felt like I was like, oh, God, it kind of feels like I'm doing a commercial or something. I was like, I know I was there. And I was like, all right, we got to keep doing this. And then I would just make myself laugh because it felt like it was like a slow, like, yeah, I know I was there. I was like, damn, how do I make this like real in this moment? But I honestly love that line. I love the fight scene.
Yeah, I
love
do
the
too.
fight scene. I'll cut your hand off and shove it down your throat. I love that line.
Yeah, for an actor, delicious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's so internal. And so like that line, get out of my restaurant, was sort of out of character for him too.
Yeah.
You know, he got to do, okay, so I know the two of you, I know that Atlas is your favorite character, Colleen. And I know that the two of you got to spend some time together on set. Maybe you were staying in the same hotel or something, you got to hang out. So I want you to tell me one naked truth about each other.
Oh God, that's a tough one.
I got one.
What's that?
Okay.
Colleen is an incredible leg wrestler.
This is true. I can beat pretty much
She
anyone.
beat me in leg wrestling.
Yeah.
She beat a random dude in leg wrestling who was like, he saw me lose and he was like, oh, I can do that. And I was like, knock yourself out, brother, because it ain't going to happen. I got strong legs. And she was like, boom, took me straight down. Yeah.
No, I am very proud of that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Now I want to see it.
One thing about Brandon, and he doesn't care if things are closed. Like if bars are closed, he will just go get what he needs.
Yeah.
So you do that a couple of times. Like when we needed something and the bar was closed, you'd be just like, oh, it's fine. And he'd just go make a drink.
Yeah.
Let's not tell the hotel that, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, there's a onesie scene, or a couple onesie scenes in the book and in the film. So if you're going to design your own onesie that really reflected who you are as a person, what do you have on it? Like either shows or movies you're obsessed with, or just characters or whatever it is, something from your childhood. What would you have on each of your onesies?
Mine would be probably covered in Atlas.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
And Lily.
Yeah.
Don't wanna make her
Alice and
mad.
Lily. Just, that's interesting. You know,
Plants.
Yeah, just a lot of plants. I have a lot of plants in my house. It'd just be a bunch of plants. Now, I used to have a My Little Pony onesie that I actually wore to music festivals. Random, never seen it, but I wore the hell out of that onesie. Yeah.
Man, that'd be such a good outfit for the premiere.
Yeah, just a My Little Pony onesie. Gets hot, tied around the waist.
Can I beg that you wear that to the
It's
premiere?
great.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So Brandon, this is a question for you. So I did read the book, and like I said, I absolutely loved it. And the casting was so crucial of Atlas that you have to love him from the second he comes on screen. And the second he came on screen in that restaurant, I was like, yep, we're good. Love him.
Thanks.
Perfect choice. I want to know for you, crafting Atlas and becoming Atlas, can you just sort of describe maybe your process a little bit of becoming him and like getting into his skin?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of getting into it, I kind of similar to what I said before. I mean, I identified with like who he was at his core a lot. So I think it was just amplifying those qualities and sort of forgetting everything else about myself that wasn't applicable, which is really easy. And I was like, I don't need to change my voice. I'm not like, it's just me. Physically, like, yeah, I put on a little weight, or I was like little things where it's like, I'm not going to show up and be super like lean and tan because he's a chef. He doesn't care. I want him to feel like he's not trying too hard. You want him to feel safe, and you want him to feel comfortable. You want him to feel like someone who doesn't need anything. He's secure. He's not trying to sound too smart or look too good. He's just there. And he's secure in himself. And so, yeah, I think that was kind of the thing. And because, to sort of contrast Justin, who is very angular and like, which I more am naturally, in some ways, but I want them to feel very opposite in that sense.
Yeah.
You want him to feel like safe. As safe as possible. So just, trying to get into that as much as I could, which is also beyond the physicals. It's just an internal process of feeling really secure in general, like me as myself as the actor. Because if I showed up not feeling that way, he wouldn't feel that way.
Colleen, I have so many questions for you, but I really want to ask you as an author, like as I was reading the book, I'm underlining, I'm circling this, like the line about breaking cycles, I wrote in big letters this, because there are so many things that we can all relate to. My favorite line in the whole book is, how could someone with such a great smile have such parents? And I can't for the life of me figure out how people function from day to day when they like somebody this much, because we've all been there.
Yeah.
So you as a writer, like when you write those lines, do you know you have something like in those, and how do those lines come to me? I know obviously they're great.
I wish I could say yeah, but absolutely not. Like I suffer from the worst case of imposter syndrome, so I always hope that books land with readers. But it is really fun when they do release and you get to see, like especially on Goodreads, they show you what are the most highlighted quotes. And so it's always really fun to see what resonates with people, because I don't know, which thoughts will. And because a lot of thoughts when you're a writer, even when you're writing from the character point of view, you're putting in a lot of your own thoughts into the character as well. So.
And I saw a lot of, I think from what I got, your sarcasm, you have a little bit of sarcasm. I saw a lot of you and Lily, I think.
Listen, Blake is just naturally funny. She brought so much levity to that character. It was so great. I was so excited to laugh as much as I did.
Yeah, so I'm wrapped, but I would love it, Brandon, if you'd go out with, what do you like?
What about you? What do you like?
I want to see you again.
Now you see me.
You know what I mean.
Can we discuss ugly crying and sucking air? Because I understand you did that when you first read the book.
Oh yeah, big time.
And I did the same. Watch it.
I couldn't even read the words on the pages. It was
Really?
like, and I'd never had that experience reading a book and like doing this, because how everything gets blurry when you're reading, and I was like wiping and snot's coming out of my nose, and I'm like trying to read. So the thought was, wow, if we could successfully like encapsulate this experience and give an audience member the chance to have this kind of catharsis, like we could have something really special.
And you did it.
Well, thank you.
That's
we did it.
That's the crazy thing, because when I was in the film, and I know you've been there before, when I was watching the film, there's those moments where you're like, I'm not going to let the tear fall because I got other things to do today. I cannot be puffy. And then you just surrender, and then you're sucking air.
I'm very happy that that was the experience for you. And
You're happy.
There's nothing that a filmmaker that makes weepy movies like myself wants to hear more than like the holding back and then the damn releasing.
Well, let's talk about, okay, so you bought the rights to the book, your company bought the rights to the book, and you clearly wanted to make it because you loved the book so much.
Yes.
But okay, we'll start with your character. It's my understanding that Colleen actually was her idea that you would play Ryle.
It was. As we were optioning the book, she sent like these very long, beautiful emails. So, if you've never exchanged emails with a romance novelist, I would suggest it, because they were gorgeous. I should frame them. But right before we closed on the option, she sent a very short email, which was unlike her, and she asked if I had ever considered acting in the movie. And then she said, playing Ryle, perhaps. And then she said, I could see it, period.
Wow.
And that, because she created this man and this story, and if she felt like I could do it justice, then in some ways she gave me the confidence to believe that I could as well. Yeah.
When I'm watching, like when I was reading the book, before I started reading the book, I knew the premise, and I was like, I'm gonna hate Ryle. And then when I started watching the movie, I'm gonna hate Ryle, and you don't, because of the complexity of the character. So for you as an actor, I mean, particularly, and I don't want to give away any spoilers for people who haven't read the book and they're going to watch the film, but like the hospital scene when she says something and you give a look, and it's one of my favorite moments because it's utterly heartbreaking. You can't hate him because of the complexity. So for you as an actor, can you just sort of discuss, this is a very, very complicated person to play, and then directing yourself on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, look, directing is very challenging on its own. Acting and directing is even more challenging. And then acting and directing and playing a character like Ryle, you add that in, and then you mix that with, the complexities of personalities on set, and, trying to manage everybody's expectations and get everybody kind of moving in the same direction. Look, every movie has its challenges, and this one was no different. And yet, oftentimes, it's those challenges that end up in some way inspiring the most beautiful art.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened on this film. And so for me, individually, as an actor, what was important for me was to inject as much goodness and humanity in Ryle as possible. Because stepping back from an actor and jumping into the filmmaking role, the only way to make this film work is to stick the landing in the hospital scene. And once you have an amazing ending, I believe you reverse engineer the movie from there.
Interesting.
And for me, the ending was the most important. But knowing that we need the audience in that moment, in that hospital scene, to not know what decision she's going to make,
yes,
means that there has to have been deep, deep, real love and connection there. And the audience cannot hate Ryle. And that was the biggest challenge, both as a filmmaker and then stepping in front of the camera as an actor.
Yeah.
And that meant that we couldn't have, he can't be a villain.
Right.
He has to be human. And yet, what he does in the movie has to be despicable and unforgivable and unexcusable. So in order to protect Lily's character, to protect the arc of the movie, we had to make the relationship between Lily and Ryle as believable and fun and romantic as possible. And then you had to like him. And you had to, in some strange way, even after you know what's happening, want her to end up with him. Because I believe that every human being on the planet wants to believe that people can change.
Yes.
And now I'm not saying that Ryle changed.
Right.
We know that the majority of people that are like Ryle don't. And that is a fact. A lot of work has to happen in rehabilitation for a man like Ryle to truly change. But it doesn't change how much we desperately want it and how much we want her to be happy.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing for me, injecting as much hope and love and charisma in Ryle as possible, and also having anything that happens, anything that he does that is violent in the movie, come from a deep place of insecurity, which was not something that I had ever seen done before. Because in my research and in talking to survivors, the one thing I noticed was that so many of these men are deeply, deeply insecure. And I had never seen somebody do something terrible and also see it from a place of, wow, they're also in pain. Doesn't change what he did, unexcusable, and yet the only way to protect that ending in Lily is if we could go on that journey with her and see Ryle through her eyes.
Well, when you're talking about the ending, let's go back to the beginning, because what I really appreciated what you did as a director is you gave the actors moments where in the edit, you allowed a look. This movie hinges, it hinges on nuance.
Yes.
Because especially if you read the book, you're waiting for Blake to inform you or Brandon to inform you with a look. So can you sort of describe what that was like watching those actors' performances bloom and sort of how you made that choice to edit it that way?
Well, it goes back to the challenge when you were adapting a novel and turning it into a movie, and specifically one that had a deep internal monologue like this one did. So we are in Lily's mind in the book. And then, even more so, we then go into flashbacks in Lily's mind via Lily's journal in the book. And that's a really challenging thing to figure out when it comes to then adapting that and turning it into a movie. And as a filmmaker and as an actor, I love films where you don't need the dialogue. You're able to allow a moment to exist with the subtext of maybe what was said in the book, but now exists in an unspoken moment between two characters. And so whenever possible, we try to sit as long as we can in the edit and create those moments, because those are the films that I like the most, because that's life. You're not always talking. You're not always saying something. You don't always have a line. Sometimes you're just looking at another person and there's a lot you want to say but can't. And sometimes you don't even know what you want to say and you're swept up in somebody's eyes. And with romance, I think, in my life example, with my wife, we just celebrated 11 years together. Some of the most beautiful moments in my relationship with my wife are moments where there's no words, but there's tons of emotion. So Blake, Brandon, these actors had so much emotional richness that it made it easy, because you don't have to. I didn't have to mind the edit for these moments. They were there because they were, injected into the scene in every moment, and then it was just simply about getting out of the way and allowing the moments. And then whenever we can, one of the things I love to do as a filmmaker is I take dialogue out. If there was a line there, we don't need the line. Let's take it out. We can say that with a look. You write it, and then sometimes the writing just becomes the subtext. And that's what we did with this film. We just kept taking things out whenever we could. And then what you were left with were these beautiful moments, this space where we could experience the actors experiencing what the characters were experiencing.
Well, I don't know if you could tell, but I was tearing up as you were giving me that answer.
Oh.
Because those are my kind of...
I'm a little too far away from you, but I wish we were in the same room.
But those are my favorite types of movies too. The unspoken, like Lost in Translation is one of my favorite movies of all time for that reason. But anyway, I have overstayed my welcome.
That inspired the karaoke scene, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How so?
The Lost in Translation is that karaoke scene is one of my favorite scenes in that movie.
Really?
So that was what inspired our karaoke scene, yeah.